Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Me again, Shannon Fox here, Devoted Patriots 2 channel. And I want to do a little bit of reading for you right off the bat. Got Tulsi Gabbard been throwing out a couple of tweets today. Some really amazing news, what's going on. Talking about firing a good portion, 40% or more, of the active employees at the ODNI. And I'm glad to see it. We need to do the same with the FBI and the CIA as well. It's the only way to get the deep state out. Is fire every one of them that had something to do with the Russia collusion hoax, targeting Catholics, stealing elections, all the things that the Democrats and the deep state did during the last 4 to 8 years that was not on the up and up. It's all getting investigated. These people are being found out. More names are coming out the woodwork every day as these cases get peeled like a blooming onion. And as of today, I believe Tulsi Gabbard got rid of, it looks like 37 people with her department at the top. Wow. Let's go ahead and get into it, folks. I'll go ahead and give you some details to just tell you what I know about it. It says, Tulsi Gabbard on Wednesday said she is reducing the Office of Director of National Intelligence, otherwise known as DNI or ODNI. She's going to reduce the staff by more than 40%. The spy agency is expected to go from more than 1,800 employees to approximately 1,200 employees. Over the last 20 years, ODNI has become bloated and inefficient, and the intelligence community is rife with abuse of power, authorizing leaks of classified intel, politicization, and weaponization of intel, Tulsi said in a statement to New York Post. ODNI and the intelligence community must make serious changes to fulfill the responsibility of the American people and the U.S. Constitution by focusing on our core mission, find the truth, and provide objective, unbiased, timely intelligence to the President and policymakers, says Tulsi. Says, today I'm launching ODNI 2.0. The first step toward bringing about transformational change is based on cutting the bloated bureaucracy, rooting out the deep state actors, and restoring our mission of focus. I like the part about getting rid of the deep state actors. That's my favorite part. So the firing at the U.S. largest spy agency is the latest shakeup to the old guard and deep state after Tulsi revoked security clearances. The American top spy agency announced it will right-size its overall footprint by cutting almost half of its employees after President Donald Trump directed that members of the deep state to be rooted out. Thank God. I was waiting for Trump to do that. I was just wondering, why has he still got all these Obama and Biden holdovers still in there that we know were obviously not good for the country or good for Trump? They worked against him every chance they could and worked against America. It says, DNI Tulsi Gabbard sent out an email to the office of the ODNI employees on Wednesday announcing that the launch of the ODNI 2.0, the accumulation of a month-long effort to reduce redundancies and cut costs, including employees. Should have had that Doge team in there. They'd have cut out 50%. Says we're going to reduce the ODNI footprint by 40% by the end of the year, save taxpayers about $700 million per year, and that's a lot of money. An estimated 500 to 700 staffers are expected to receive the axe. This move is directly in line with Trump's effort to reform intelligence community and root out the deep state. So does that mean there was 500 to 700 bad actors? Or were just some of these bad actors and some of them were just useless employees? I think anybody that they found any kind of smudge on their name, according to how they've been acting in the last 4 to 8 years, that would be the ones that would definitely be on the chopping block. It says this was a takedown of many deep state, multiple senior ODNI officials who worked on sweeping reviews, told by the Daily Mail. On Tuesday, Gabbard stripped security clearances of 37 deep state officials tied to the Russia collusion hoax. And a lot of their staffers as well, it looks like. Anybody that's undermining the national security of American people and the foundation of principles of our democratic republic gotta go. Going to lose their clearance, going to get fired, maybe prosecuted, depending on what they did. Now, I don't recognize a bunch of names on this list here, but I will scroll down just slow enough. I'm not going to know who these people are for the most part. But if they were part of the problem, get rid of them. Intelligence community professionals must remain nonpartisan, fact-driven, and committed to truth above all else. Yeah, that ain't what's been going on, folks. They've been skipping that. They've been missing that memo. Says, being entrusted with the security clearance is a privilege, not a right, and those in the intelligence community who betray their oath to the Constitution, put their own interest ahead of the interest of the American people, have broken the sacred trust they promised to uphold, and will now be stripped of their clearances. Meaning they can't go get another job in government again. No, nowhere, no how. Glad to see it. Get rid of them and kill their clearance. That'd be a bad one on a resume. Used to have security clearance. Now, the great Jack Posobiec today had put this out. These communists have no roots here. That's what Stephen Miller actually said. Stephen Miller, Pete Hegseth, and J.D. Vance were at Union Station in Washington, D.C., cleaning up the homeless encampments, and got the National Guard there. They're feeding them. And it just looked like a very lovely event, with the exception of one thing. People outside of this conference room that they're in, where they're discussing their business about all the great things that have been done in the last week, since there's no more murders in Washington, D.C. going on as of this week. Just the great accolades from Trump having people like Pete Hegseth, the National Guard, Tom Homan of ICE, Kristi Noem, HHS, and so many other people, so many departments and agencies getting involved in cleaning up the streets. Arresting the criminals, deporting the illegals, the whole 9 yards. So Stephen Miller cooks the deranged pro-crime protesters in D.C. We're going to ignore these stupid white hippies that all need to go home and take a nap because they're all over 90 years old. Listen to Steve Miller here. Actually, all three of them had great commentary on this. You're welcome to go back and watch the full clip. I believe it is over on Forbes. The original on Rumble was horrible. Really, really bad audio.
For too long, 99% of this city has been terrorized by 1% of this city. And the voices that you hear out there, those crazy communists, they have no roots. They have no connections to the city. They have no families they're raising in this city. They have no one that they're sending to school in this city. They have no jobs in this city. They have no connections to this community at all. But they're the ones who've been advocating for the 1%, the criminals, the killers, the rapists, the drug dealers. And I'm glad they're here today. Because me, Pete, and the Vice President are all going to leave here, and inspired by them, we're going to add thousands more resources to this city to get the criminals and the gang members out of here. We're going to dismantle those networks, and we're going to prove that a city can serve for the law-abiding citizens who live there. We are not going to let the communists destroy a great American city, let alone the nation's capital. And let's just also address another thing. All these demonstrators that you've seen out here in recent days, all of these elderly white hippies, they're not part of the city and never have been. And by the way, most of the citizens who live in Washington, D.C. are black. This is not a city that has had any safety for its black citizens for generations. And President Trump is the one who is fixing that with the support of the Metropolitan Police Department, the support of the National Guard, and our federal law enforcement officers. So we're going to ignore these stupid white hippies that all need to go home and take a nap because they're all over 90 years old, and we're going to get back to the business of protecting the American people and the citizens of Washington, D.C.
Go home, you old hippies. And I say that with my long hair. I wouldn't consider myself a hippie, even though my hair is a little long. Been around some hippies in my life, but I'm not one of these coexist kind of people that's a tree hugger and screams about the the climate change and all that kind of stuff. No. Those are the people that had kids that grew up to become politicians, which is about run our country. It's the old hippies and their children that are the problem, folks. And that's just and some of the kids. That's just the fact, folks. Yeah, they're throwing big mad in Texas today behind the gerrymandering vote fixing to happen, and they are big mad in Union Station because they're coming in there with full force, cleaning up the show, cleaning up the entire city of Washington D.C. I'm sure Union Station, they probably had to run hundreds of homeless out of there, and probably rounded up some illegals and caught some criminals all in the same fell swoop. Now, there's statistics out saying that we're about in the 500 numbers as far as the amount of arrests that have happened in just the last week. And the crime statistics in Washington, D.C. have dropped dramatically. Crime is down by 8 or 10% just over the last 5 days. Carjacking is down like 80%. The numbers are great. And they're just getting started. Got some more Stephen Miller for you folks. I hope y'all don't mind. I really like this guy, and I like the way he thinks. He'll tell the Democrats real quick how the cow ate the cabbage, and he's just smart enough to put it so eloquently that we all get it. All right, let me scroll this up. Now, this is Stephen Miller going off about sanctuary cities, and he's absolutely right here again.
White House Deputy Chief of Staff for Policy, Homeland Security Advisor to the President, Stephen Miller. So I can sum up the Democrats this way, and we'll culminate this with the Mariachi ban. They lied for 4 years about the border being closed and secure. They never picked up a phone and called any of the family members that we know of. We know Biden and Harris and Mayorkas didn't. We know the Democrats wouldn't stand at a joint session speech of President Trump for Lake and Riley or Jocelyn Nungary's family. And they're the party of Abrego, Garcia, and Mariachi bands. What should now happen to these mayors and these governors?
The Democrat Party is an extremist organization, Sean. It's not a political party in any normal sense of the word. A political party represents Americans. It represents law-abiding citizens. All you see all day long are crazy Democrats screeching on TV on behalf of foreign terrorists, hardened criminals, and violent illegal aliens. A political party exclusively dedicated to protecting terrorists, criminals, gangbangers, and murderers. That's what they become. These sanctuary city mayors, DOJ's been very clear. They had a deadline and they violated it. They had a deadline to comply with federal law and hand over the criminal illegal aliens in their custody, the child rapists, the child predators, the drug traffickers, the human traffickers. The sanctuary cities, like Boston, refused to turn over these menacing threats to public safety. And so now they face not only revocation of funds, not only the loss of taxpayer support, but also potential criminal charges for harboring and smuggling. This is as real as it gets, Sean. The Department of Justice laid out to these mayors how they were breaking our laws, and they refuse to change their policy, and Attorney General Bondi is going to see this thing through to the end.
Well, to me, it's aiding and abetting. If I went down to the border and if I were to pick people up that were illegally in the country and transport them around the country and maybe give them a place to stay and protect them and let them know when ICE was going to raid, what would happen to me? Wouldn't I be charged with aiding and abetting criminal activity?
You'd be facing felony charges, numerous felony charges. Charges for trafficking, charges for smuggling, charges for harboring, charges for concealing, charges for illegal interstate commerce, charge after charge after charge. Let me just break down for...
So here's my question. Why can't we get charges, these 4 or 5 charges he spouted off, thrown at these Democrat mayors that are going out of their way to tell their employees further down the trough than themselves, don't help ICE, don't cooperate, do everything you can to help hide these people, evade the situation. They don't have to be cooperative. They don't have to help, but they can't be uncooperative. When I ask them a question, they can't lie. That's obstruction. And I want to know why we can't get these 25, 30 Democrat mayors in this country that are screaming sanctuary city still today, including Governor Gavin Newsom. I want to know why we can't tax them, punish them, and make their life miserable one way or another behind the fact that they're doing illegal things. Put them in jail for harboring, smuggling, trafficking. Put them in jail. It'll only take a few. You arrest a governor and a mayor from a blue city and a blue state for harboring, guess what's going to happen? Some of the other mayors and governors are going to go, I don't want to go to jail. And that's what's going to happen, folks. I know they don't want to get there and go there this quick, call it weaponization of government or whatever, but it's absolutely necessary at this point. Absolutely necessary.
For your audience, Sean, how severe the crime committed by these sanctuary cities is. So you'll have a situation where local police in Boston will arrest an illegal alien who's a child predator. And ICE will then send what's called a detainer request or a hold request, and will say, don't release this person, hand them over to ICE, and we'll remove this child predator from our community. Instead, these sanctuary mayors will order the police department to ignore the federal request to set them free out of the jail, out of the prison, and they will go back into the community, and then they will reoffend. They will hurt another little girl. They will hurt another little boy. And then ICE has to spend weeks scouring the community to find this public safety threat. What they're doing, Sean, is evil, and President Trump will see that they are held to account for their crimes.
I sure hope so. Now, here's my question. I know it's part of the Democrat playbook to be destructive, but my question is if we find out through somebody like Laura Loomer, some great investigative reporter, some whistleblower, somebody comes forward, if we find out that all these Democratic mayors and governors in these sanctuary cities that are fighting for sanctuary cities, we're going to find out that they're funded by NGOs. And then you're going to find out that the NGOs are funded by the Democrat Party. And so it's Democrats supporting Democrats with a middleman for their agenda. That's the way the ball rolls every time the Democrats do anything. That's their playbook. So I'm curious as to when there's going to be a real investigation into how many of these NGOs are funded by our government, how many of them are funded by George Soros, how many mayors in sanctuary cities and governors in sanctuary states are receiving under-the-table dark money from George Soros just because they're standing up for the illegals. That's got to be their incentive. It can't. Maybe it's money. I don't know. Maybe it's the money that comes into the state through the federal government. But I don't think they can depend on that because Trump's going to cut that off at the rate they're going. So I'm thinking there's outside money sources that help keep these NGOs going, help keep these wackadoodle lefties fighting for a sad cause. I'm going to guess and say it's probably dark Democrat money that keeps these sanctuary cities taking piles of cash under the table. That's why these people are the way they are. They're not doing it because they're compassionate about their fellow man because they're here illegally and deserve a right to be here. That ain't it. Because if that was it, they would have just as much compassion for the people that are being injured, wounded, murdered, taken advantage of by these very same people. They don't seem to care about the victims, but they care about the illegals that are committing the crimes because they want them to stay. They even went as far as to go visit them in another country, Albrego Garcia. That tells you where the Democrat Party was at. They're not only communists, but they promote crime and everything bad that's going on with this country. They're fighting for it to continue. It's actually very shocking at this point. I mean, I knew the Democrats were crazy, but It's really, really gotten out of hand. And they're showing their true colors, and I don't think they'll ever win an election again if they just stay true to acting the way they are. Because I know 50% of the country cannot be interested in the crap that they're pushing, open borders and destroyed economy and all this wicked evilness that they put on us. The taxation, just so much crime, so much injustice. Well, I believe this Commander-in-Chief, Trump, will not only try to stop every war he can while he's in office, but he's also going to try to fix everything he can in this country that is broken, including our election process, which is the best thing imaginable. That is what I voted for somebody to get in there like Trump and actually fix stuff, fix the election so the Democrats can't cheat us out of our opportunity to pick the guy we want. All right, folks, last video of the day here. I thought this was a great TikTok clip from at the White House. Check this out.
Say please, it's too much.
I'm a winner. I'm going to win.
That's my job. That's what I do.
It's just my nature.
Are you not entertained? I'm going to show you how great I am.
You play to win the game. Here's the situation.
I'm the best there is, plain and simple.
You can't handle the truth. It's all there, black and white, clear as crystal.
That's how winning is done.
Not worth winning if you can't win.
That flipped this switch in me where I was like, okay, you, watch this.
The show goes on.
What the?
Who do you think you are? I am.
That's kind of a big deal. Winning's winning.
Ben, noggin.
Winners focus on winning. My boy's awake and smart.
Yeah.
Say please.
White House is getting fresh with the videos. They got TikTok videos. Winner, chicken dinner. And that's what we're going through right now in this country, folks. Even with the crazy Democrats acting a fool, showing their true colors, we're still getting shit done, folks. Still getting the ball rolling. Still going to get Texas taken care of one way or another. Let's check in on Texas real quick. Okay, this is what the House looks like today in the Rotunda in Texas, in Austin. This is what's going on in the Rotunda. Looks like a bunch of insurrectionists to me. Real impressive there. Run across somebody earlier today, had a Biden-Harris coexist sticker on their car. Got up next to him, and it was a girl with, black girl with big nose ring. I mean, huge nose rings in her nose. Not that matters, but yeah, I took one look at her, and and then if the shoe fits, wear it. I mean, she really looked the part. But I'll just leave it at that. I won't go being judgmental, but she definitely looked the part. But here's the facts, folks. We are going to eliminate 5 districts from the Democrats and gain 5 seats for the Republicans. So they're going to lose 5. We're going to gain 5 in the House. I love it. I love it. Texas will have a bigger presence in Washington. Now let's see where they're at in the voting. I tried to scroll down to this earlier, and it is a live stream. Okay, let's see what the live stream's doing right now. Let's see if they're voting yet.
They have it.
But did they perform any racially polarized voting analysis in drawing the maps?
They're debating over the racial polarity of the drawing of the maps. Oh my God. We're not going to listen to that, folks. I just wanted to check and see if they were done bloviating and screaming and crying, throwing a fit. But truth be known, they're still talking. As soon as they get to a point to where we know that it's a done deal, I'll probably throw a short out later tonight, just to let y'all know. Texas just got us 5 more seats, because it's happening, folks. There's no way around it. The Democrats are stuck like Chuck. That's what I got for you today, folks. Like, subscribe, and share if you haven't already. See you.